what do we need to be able to do it? You could always come up with what's the mass we need to get to Mars and then split it into different things or run it backwards. We have to design what are the ideal kind of vehicles we'd like to have, and then what are the ways of assembling these and refueling them at different places and departing from a high elliptic orbit where you apply the velocity at the perihelion. You get the most out of the addition of delta B by doing it there, and for each mission it's a little bit different, but that's probably the marshalling orbit. Now the moon goes around and fuel from the moon can get off into that cycling orbit, that marshalling orbit for departure to interplanetary distances. I'm a good bit out of pages. Now, we're going to go into a few word charts that you can read. They may have some connection to what I'm saying, but they were parts of what was submitted to the Augustine Commission in '09. Obviously, Mars is the ultimate destination. We can get there, but we need global cooperation to make this happen. Global at the moon to allow us to pioneer, and then global landings of objects at Mars to be put together and transport people there. The U.S. needs to continue to be the space transportation leader. And I think we should capitalize on the dynamism of the commercial market to develop a runway landing system. Something innovative instead of steroids with capsules that land in the ocean. Just because Elon loves salt water doesn't mean that that's the way our future vehicles should come back from space. You know, somebody likes airbags, and they find out that those are too expensive, so they're going to be back into landing in the ocean again. That's not the way to do it. We will, these commercial transportations from the surface of the Earth of crew and other delivery of cargo, not together in the same vehicle as we were forced to do with the space shuttle because of marketing and having jobs in as many states as we could so that we could pass the legislation to keep the ISS alive. I worry about our being caught in an unproductive race to the moon. And if you realize that the Orion is originally conceived in the vision for space exploration, couldn't put itself and a lander into lunar orbit. Now, if you've looked at pictures of the Orion multi-purpose crew vehicle, all it is two vehicles, a propulsion system tacked onto the end of the Orion. Now, if I were building the propulsion system, I'd love it, because we got so much invested in Orion, that's for sure going to continue on, or we're going to really go. So how would you like to be the builder of the propulsion system on a guaranteed success vehicle that doesn't air brake for reusability on orbit? That's what a Block 2 Orion should really be. Third, and most important, we should establish and direct our focus on a permanent human presence before 2040. 2 decades of permanence, moving toward it from 2020, the midpoint of 50th anniversaries of Apollo. By my calculation, it's also the re-election year of whoever succeeds President Obama in 2016. So if you want to have an influence, you better pay attention to who gives the executive policy orders in 2016 and beyond. And maybe if you want your name to go down with that person's name, because that one gets it and makes a commitment within 2 decades around the 2019 in July, 50th anniversary of our mission. Now, if you make the first step by the groundworks leading up to that, including the leadership at the moon, the commercial doing things that it should do, that is, bringing rocks back from out there, back to look at back here, that shouldn't be a government job. The government may help to introduce the low-thrust engines, but low-thrust engines just take a long time to bring something back, to get there and bring it back. It's not the government job to be doing that. It's commercial people, deep space industries, or planetary resources. And I believe that by accomplishing these 3 goals, we will do more to advance the U.S. national interest than any other space policy initiative we could envision. So now we're ready to send humans beyond the moon. We have or can affordably develop the technology to send humans on various missions toward Mars, and especially Martian moons. Now, if I could plant a seed into a chap by the name of John Aldrin, the science advisor to the president, of what we need to do, it's to make a statement about U.S. leadership at the moon of an international lunar development authority. Declan O'Donnell is moving a little bit in that direction, that we bring nations together and we make some statements about where the base is going to be, what it's going to look like, and how other nations are going to help us build that base by landing the different objects, and we'll put them together. But we don't need NASA astronauts to do that. We need them elsewhere. We need them to define at the space station the test bed for long-term life support. Then a prototype of the exploration module at the space station. Lo and behold, that serves pretty well as a safe haven. Something goes wrong with the space station, everybody gets into that vehicle. It's long duration life support, a little crowded. But the commercial people delivering people to the space station would just love it if they didn't have to leave their spacecraft up there for 6 months or a year or whatever it takes. The Russians love it because we pay for it. Right now we're paying for the transportation too. So how do we kind of bring this about? The recent Inspiration Mars mission, flyby, proposed by Dennis Tito. I thought for a long time he was just satisfied with being the first tourist and kind of hiding away down there on Ocean Avenue with Wilshire One making more money. But now I understand why he uses his JPL background and wants to develop something that really can be done and not wait till 2031, which is the next time this favorable total transit time reaches kind of a minimum. We can't quite do it by 2016, but 2018 looks good. 500 days, a little over a year and a half. And I had to remind him that when they get back, they're about ready to begin to help us celebrate the 50th anniversary of landing on the moon. He said, "Oh, is that right?" "Yeah." I said, "That's the way I figure it." And now I know that his mission is going to have a backup spacecraft and a backup crew. I think I've settled in on some things that we can do with that trained crew for a long-duration mission. Maybe they can do an easier, just a 1-year flyby of a comet. or even less, a visit to an asteroid. But what is the purpose of sending a spacecraft to visit an asteroid? Maybe you can take a few pictures of the asteroid, but the purpose is proving out the spacecraft at greater distances than the moon. That's what I thought he was talking about when he said human visit to an asteroid in 2025. Very good idea, no matter who is the president to chart that one. I think we could upgrade that as the next one as it leads toward human mission to, my preference is Phobos. So that can be a destination during this president's term, and the organizing of the international moon activities. That's enough to earn a two-position